Buddy?
And now we're live. Okay.
Oh, bad time.
It's just
What?
that always sometimes it goes live in like a second, and sometimes it goes live in 15. Twitch, you weird.
Let me see. Oh yeah, I should probably repost that link places, huh?
Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to do. Retweet that biz. Oh, okay. We're live. Got all this biz going. I got my what you been playing. I have 4 games this month. I think that's a new record for me. But I think one of them, I know that there's one of them that we're gonna share. So maybe it's really just 3.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6. Hey, cool. I have 6.
All right.
I feel like I'm forgetting something though. Like I played something briefly. Oh well, who cares?
Yeah. All right. You ready to start?
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry.
Starting in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of Picking Up the Pixels. I'm your host, Boston, and joining me in my party, as always, Musum.
Salutations.
I don't think we have anything to talk about at the top here, so let's get right into what you've been playing, sir.
Okay. Man, I have so much to say about a couple of these, but let's just start out with the big dog. Yeah, so SMT4.
Hooray!
That is a huge game.
Oh man, I'm 30 hours in and about a little over halfway through.
Holy, yeah, I'm not quite that far. I think I'm about 20 hours ish. I
Yeah.
just got to what did I just do? I just beat up Kenki. Um,
Oh yeah.
but man, there's so much to say about this
Yeah,
game.
we're gonna try and not spoil anything since it's only 2 weeks old now.
Yeah,
Something like that. We're gonna try our best not to spoil stuff, but if you're really looking forward to getting zero spoilers, you might want to skip ahead at like a half an hour.
yeah. Well, I think we can pretty easily keep out most of the big spoilers, but
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of upset because I was reading a review of it early on, just because I like to read reviews, even for
Yeah,
stuff
I
I've
do
already
too.
bought. Yeah, and this one was by an RPG writer who I generally like, and they spoiled like something huge that would have really caught me
Great,
off guard.
great.
It's just it
Well,
was still
I
it's still
think
pretty awesome when I got there, but
yeah, I think there's one part a couple hours in um, that I think as you progress through the game, I think your language while you're talking about the game is sort of talking about its different areas. I think you can very easily not think about that being a spoiler. I'm assuming that's sort of what it was, what happens after like the first 5-ish hours. Um, but I could sort of see someone being like, "Oh yeah," and then you do this thing, and it's like, "Oh well,
yeah,
yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing." Like
yeah.
great, thanks.
Yeah, this game, like I guess for the people just starting out, like the game is super super hard.
Yeah, in like, what was the last mainline SMT game? Nocturne.
Uh, Either some people consider Strange Journey one, but Nocturne would have been one of the numbered. So
Yeah, because that
yeah,
was 3, right?
hmm
Yeah.
but like the game, like you really got to get probably like I don't know, would you say maybe 5 to 8 hours in before you're not like accidentally dying all the time?
That's about as far as I got before I felt like I had a real handle on the game's systems, and around that time, I sort of kept getting sick of dying, so I turned the difficulty to easy.
Mm.
So, because I really wanted to, I was really enjoying the story so far in the game, and I was frustrated that I was spending more time kind of going through Naruto over and over and over again because I kept dying over and over instead of getting the next story bit because I was like, oh god, I have to know what's going on. What is happening?
It's God, it's such a crazy story. You're like,
Yeah,
I'm in medieval town, and now they're gonna put this computer on my wrist.
yeah.
Uh,
I like them referencing Japanese as the mystical script.
yeah, it's ah, God, I keep trying to think about where to actually start on this game.
I think for me, what's really interesting is how much they've really streamlined the SMT game in general. Like auto battle is a huge boon. Like while I'm just going through a dungeon and grinding, that where I'm strong enough that I don't have to continually use spells on enemies, and I can take um, one or two turns just physically attacking. That's just such a huge time saver. I'm going through an older area where it's like, come on, I'm fighting like Jack Frost and I'm level 45. Like this, this is stupid. Like, I really like that, and I really like the thing that I enjoy the most. I think is, um, I think I enjoy burrows the most. So for people that haven't played this, burrows is this AI that's in this gauntlet that they give you at the very beginning of the game, and she is basically the main menu in the game, and she grabs side quests and she grabs info and she runs your map and stuff like that. Um, I really like her, and I really like. I think that her being in there puts a different spin on having a main menu, and it makes more sense. Like you're unlocking things in the game by purchasing apps for your burrows. I love that.
I really like the app stuff.
Mm.
And have you had the fortune of street passing someone with that game?
No, I've been trying, but there's no one around here with it.
Okay, so this last weekend they had Tokyo and Tulsa in town, and I just brought my 3DS. I never street pass anyone. I live in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah,
I know there are gamers here. It just never happens. And
you just
like,
don't know where.
yeah, even if there were, I wouldn't have expected them to have this game. But
Yeah,
after when the weekend was open, I passed 6 people who had this game.
nice.
It gave me 40 app points for doing that.
Whoa,
Yeah,
I need to turn that thing on and walk around
that's
town a little
uh,
bit.
that's all, man. I keep doing it ever since then, and it just hasn't happened.
Yeah.
The other cool thing it does is, like when you set up your street pass, you have your character, and then you can attach a demon to it. Evidently, there's some sort of fusion that can happen with this, but that didn't happen with mine.
Hmm.
But you do get a battle command called DDS.
Okay.
And what DDS lets you do is use one giant attack from all these demons that you've street passed.
Oh wow.
So like the last time I played the game was actually probably this last weekend, just because this week has been very busy. But um, like when I fought King K, like he did one attack and almost killed the guy. I'm like, oh, I'm so not going to win this. I wonder what this thing does, and clicked it, and I had like a level 99 whatever from a street pass and
Oh
like
man.
5 other things. They killed him in one hit.
Holy crap.
It was it was pretty awesome. And now I'm just like desperately trying to find a Nintendo Zone where someone's going to regularly street pass this
Yeah.
game. Um,
Speaking of Fusion, I actually really like the changes they've made to Fusion. I've always really liked fusing demons in the past games, but I like that they've not only streamlined it but made it more made it a lot easier to find the specific fusions you want to do. Sorry for everyone in chat. Apparently, I still have Raptor open. Um, I really like that one, you can fuse anywhere, so you don't have to like go back to the central hub to go talk to this dude who's the only fusion place in the entire game. You just pull up the main menu and Demon Santa comes out and wants you to fuse demons.
I love that guy.
That guy's pretty
I
great. Such a great voice. Like, what does he say? He has one question that always makes me laugh when he asks it. One
Is
of
it
them,
the "What will you do"?
yeah. What will you do? It's just like, it's like
It's
I'm just
like
fusing demons here, bro. I don't. You know how this goes.
it feels like having like Orpheus
Yeah,
as your
yeah.
demon fusing
Or
guy.
like Dracula from Symphony of the Night.
Yeah.
um, I really, really like that whole menu. I really like the demon fusing suggestions. So, for those of you that haven't played it, when you go to the main menu of the demon fusing, what does he call it? The demon cathedral or something like that. Cathedral
Uh,
of Shadows, something like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's something cool sounding. They give you three options of here are the recommended demon fusing for all the demons you have right now. And I can hold, I think, 17 demons right now. So like your your fusing options are pretty serious. But they give you like here's your top three demon fusing, and then they'll suggest on top of that which skills and spells that those demons are going to take with them. So it usually says, well, here let's take a a Dees and a Thoth and fuse them, and then here are the five things you should probably take over with them because it's going to make them the person that comes out of this sick nasty. Um, and I really like that, especially at the beginning of the game, because you don't know how fuses are going to work in this game. Um, but what I really like, and it's this the title of TVGP episode 302 is a demon sequel. When you go to search for demons, you can set basically write a SQL query and say, well, I want you to include this demon because I want to get rid of them, or Toxic Joker says, feel like I missed SMT talk already in chat. Nope, just started. Um, if you can you can say, well, I want to include this demon, I want to get rid of them, but I want to exclude this demon because I just got them and they're awesome, and I want to, show me the top 10 that's only new demons that are going to focus on the food class, and show me what those are, and then they'll give you results. Or you can just say, show me demons, how to fuse demons I don't have, and that for me is incredibly, incredibly powerful.
It's man. One of the aspects I really like about the demon search thing is that it can search through your compendium too.
Yeah,
You can just say include demons in the compendium. I only want to see demons I haven't gotten yet, and go. And then you'll
yeah,
get a list of demons and how much money you'll have to put in to cost them. And like we're in a previous game, if they had had a feature like that, you would have had to have then backed out of that menu,
mm-hmm.
find the demon in there, and summon them. This one, you can just
Yep.
click the button and it'll charge you. And
Which is especially great for those special fusions that they have, where um, 9 times out of 10 you're not going to have those demons. So it's going to say, look, you need these three. If it has a little purple circle, it's in your compendium. If it has a green circle, it's in your party right now. If we have to bring him out of compendium, it's going to be 17,000 Maka. Here you go, boom.
yeah,
I,
compendium's
I really
always
like that.
expensive.
Yeah, and even though part of the some of the first apps I've purchased were apparently I'm still logged into Steam as well. Um, some of the first compendiums I've purchased were or the apps I purchased were decreasing the cost for pulling things out of compendium, and I think the one I'm getting close to purchasing, the next one is 50% off, which I think at that point I will just start filling that compendium full of
Yeah.
who knows what.
Yeah, man, that's all I do in my game is freaking fuse demons I don't have, and then if I can't fuse anything interesting, then I'll just go around recruiting.
Yep.
I don't. I guess that's another big piece of advice. Is whenever you're talking to demons, like don't give them more than like two items. Um,
Yeah. So for those of you that watched TVGP episode 301, I think it was, Musim had a bunch of great suggestions, and that's been one that has been really, really helpful for me because, especially for those people that aren't very well versed with the mainline SMT games. I think for a lot of people that are getting into SMT4 are used to Persona 3 and 4, where oh, I got a bunch of cards, and yay, now I have a demon, yay. But in in the mainline SMT games, you have to talk to demons and you have to convince them to come in your party. There are a bunch of apps that I have now where there's one app that costs I think 30 points that makes it a lot easier for you to talk demons in your party. One of them decreases the amount of things that they want, and one I just purchased, which has been a huge lifesaver, has been a demon you successfully recruit will talk to the other demons that you're fighting and try and bring them into your party as well. So you
Oh,
might
that's
convince
awesome.
one demon to come, and he'll be like, "Hey, let me talk to my buddies," and bam, 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 you have three other people. So you have four new demons coming in your party all at once, and that has been super great, especially combined with apps where when you bring a demon in your party, they give you items and money. Then at that point, each one of the demons in the enemy party that comes into your party will give you an item and money. So next thing you know, you got like 5,000 more maca, and you got a bunch of items. And it's like, yeah, it's awesome.
That sounds like the way to go. I
Yeah,
keep my current problem is I keep running out of skill slots, and I'm like, I don't want to get rid of one.
yeah, me too.
Um, so it's been difficult. I don't think I've had the options to get some of these finer apps you have, and I'm sure they'll show up soon. I started resorting to the internet to try and figure out where a lot of these quests are.
Yeah, I've been playing it. I've been playing it a lot in bed when my girlfriend and I are sort of laying in bed at the end of the day. Sitting there with the 3DS, brightness turned down low and headphones in, and I've been playing typically with my phone sort of laying on my chest, and uh, just I have a FAQ pulled up. There's a really good HTML based FAQ on GameFAQs that someone wrote a pretty okay FAQ, but it's all HTMLized, so it's much easier to use on your phone. And I've had that open a lot because where I've had trouble is getting lost on the world map. Someone's saying, "Oh yeah, you just have to go over
Yeah,
to this area," and it's like I couldn't even tell you where to begin going to go to this area.
I have that same problem.
Yep.
So how did you? Let me see. I've only fought one fiend so far, and he was an entirely new fiend to the series.
Hmm.
Have you fought more than one? I'm assuming.
What are you categorizing as a fiend in the game?
That'll be their demon family, and they probably have a skeleton face.
Oh, I might have fought two. There was one demon domain as I was wandering around, and I was level 20 something, and this demon was level 75,
Oh my
and I
gosh.
managed to make it out of it because
Wow.
they were incredibly weak to fire, and I had managed just through sheer dumb luck to have three fire demons in my party at the moment. So the boss couldn't ever. I killed it in one turn, even though it took me like 15 minutes, because I just kept adding more and more and more turns onto my or movements onto my turn. So
Yeah.
that's when I love the SMT and Persona games is when you can break the game like that, where it's like, oh, I had a half an hour fight that the enemy never got a chance to attack because
Yeah.
I kept breaking the game.
I was reading online a lot of people saying that the press turn icon made a system made a return, but there's a distinct difference between this one and
Mm-hmm.
Shin Megami Tensei 3.
Yeah,
Because 3, the press turn icon, you'd get one token for each character, and if you got a critical or hit the weakness, then you would only be able to get one more action in that
yeah,
turn. And this game goes quite a bit further,
yeah,
and adding like the smirk system where if everyone smirks at once, all of a sudden you're completely healed.
yeah.
Uh,
And it seems like if one character smirks, they kind of um, dodge or nullify the next attack against them,
yeah.
which
Well,
seems really good.
man, yeah, and I haven't completely figured out how to get the benefits of that, but I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out where my next story beat is in the game.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's why I started using a FAQ because I think there was one time where they were saying Oh, go! It was the fight against Paludia, whatever that like swamp monster is. A
Oh
couple hours
yeah.
in, and they're like, "Go ahead and attack it." And I spent almost a half an hour looking for the area where this monster was, and it was just on the other side of this quest hub area. And I was just like, you know what? At this point, I I don't have the patience. I love this game. I want to see it through the end. I do not have the patience to sit here and figure out, like, go out of this exit and say, okay, is this where I should be, or is this somewhere where a side quest is, or someone's saying they need this. A lot of these side quests are really fun, but sometimes they're like, well, here's a photograph or a photograph, and then go deliver this to someone in this area, and it's like, I am I supposed to be have been there yet? Do I go there in
Yeah.
a couple hours? Like I don't even understand. So
I would love it if they would have just implemented like a big map with names on it somewhere
that's
in there.
for me. That's I feel one of the biggest missed opportunities for this game is you have your map on your bottom screen and it's a touch screen. Let me just drag a cursor over it, and when I touch the cursor on it, it just says, here's the name of this spot. And I can go, oh, okay, now I need to sort of chart my way towards this. I need to go to this place to go to here. Like that to me would have saved so much trouble out of this.
Yeah. Uh, man, and I'll tell you that it's a very nice looking book, strategy guide that came
Mm-hmm.
with the game, but I feel like it's almost utterly useless for
Yeah.
me. Like the demon chart, like the way they do the demon fusion now is completely useless. So it's very impressive that it takes up 2 pages now, but
Yeah.
there's no sense in looking at it. And whenever I look up a quest in there, like the quest just is like, yeah, go here and do this. I'm like, where's there?
Yeah. Where? Who am I talking to in what area? Like, half of these people in each area don't even really have names. They're like surly looking hunter, and it's like, okay,
Yeah,
who am I looking for?
yeah. I don't know. It's another thing I wanted to bring up was the music for the game because I
Mm-hmm.
really, really, really like the music.
I do too. And it keeps getting better throughout the entire game. Like it's seemingly every new area I come to, I'm just sort of sitting there listening to music. Like, and that's why I started putting headphones in because not only are the the 3DS speakers are kind of lame,
Yeah,
and I don't think I had realized it until um, I was trying to hear a lot of people in this game talk, and some people are really, really very quiet. Um, which, by the way, the voice acting is fantastic too. It's the usual Atlas cast of characters for the voice actors, so you know everyone already. But that and the music are both fantastic.
yeah, and it's each like the game starts out with one atmosphere, and the music very much follows whatever atmosphere of the location you're
Yeah.
in. Like way like the variance in styles is pretty astounding to
Mm-hmm.
me. Man, the voice acting characters. There's another complaint I could make, and that is the fifth character in the party. The first time, like, because you get, your AI companions, and you'll have your group, and one of them will randomly be in battle with you.
Yeah.
And the first time I experienced this, I think it was in a boss battle, and the AI just would not stop casting things that the enemy was immune to.
Yeah.
It was
It's
a
the
nightmare.
or it's something even worse I've had happen once in a while where they'll keep casting like Bufu over and over again, and the boss repels it. It's like,
Oh,
please stop. You're killing me, literally.
you're using up our turn icons. Like,
Yeah, I'm wasting a move in my turn to heal myself, which needn't happen.
yeah, it's a little frustrating.
Yeah.
I think Walter's the biggest. Or wait, I get him confused. Which one's the one with the foofy hair? Is
Oh,
it Walter or
Walter.
Jonathan? Yeah,
Uh,
because Jonathan's the one.
Jonathan's the
Uh,
serious one, I think, with the
yeah.
foofy hair. Yeah, and Walter's the kind of kidding one.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Well,
think.
then I think it's Jonathan. Then it it's the one that was a. What's the class system they have in the game? It's the.
Oh, the Luxors and the
Yeah.
Sea somethings.
Yeah. Okay. So the lecturer one.
Yeah.
That guy is the one who always screws up my battles.
Yeah. He seems kind of dumb.
Like never fails.
Yeah.
He seems kind of dumb in conversation too half
Yeah.
the time.
I
Uh,
think I think for me, as much as we've really hyped up this game, as much as I'm absolutely loving it, I'm playing, at least an hour or two every day. The thing that really drives me nuts about this game, and the one thing I really don't like, and I think it's the only thing I don't like, is the new demon art. And I just, Atlas was saying there's a big kerfuffle surrounding this when some of the new demon art was shown months and months ago, and people were rightly asking like, well, why did you need to change the art? Like you've had this hugely influential and really critical art for these games for 15 years, 10 years. I don't even know how long. Way before I was playing the series. Why are you going through and changing all this art? And their original thing was, well, we're trying to keep the art a little fresh, and it's on a 3D system, and the quality needs to be a little bit higher. So we're gonna go back and we're gonna revisit some of the other demons. Man, they are just bad. Like some of them are, I'm trying to be nice, but some of them are bad deviant art quality. Where it's just sort of like, why would you do that to this character? And then when the classic demon art shows up in the game, one of my favorite demons, Parvati, shows up, and she looks exactly how she's looked in the past. I was just like, yeah, man, this is the classic SMT demon look. Like everyone has that sort of pale face look. They have the hard black edges. They have a lot of them have that black eyeliner look. Like that's the SMT Atlas look that I love. The rest of these are just really rough.
mm. Yeah, I don't think I think the main art I've noticed was like the boss art.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first boss art when you fight I don't know if that's a spoiler or not. Like the first big boss you fight, I think it's about 4 floors, maybe 5 floors down.
Oh, I know which
The,
one you're talking
the
about.
guy
Yeah.
guarding the door. I thought that
Yep.
was a really clever piece of art.
Yeah, I really
Um,
like minor spoilers here for everyone, but I really like how the end of his snout was a skull. And I was just sort of
exactly.
like, all right, that's
Yeah.
kind of cool. I like that.
But but then I thought after that area you discover some things about the story and then you
Yep.
get into a tower and go down it. And
Oh, are you talking about that boss in Sky, the lady?
yeah, yeah.
That was really bad.
That was so corny looking.
Yeah,
I
that was. I had been frustrated by a lot of the art up until then. Especially like some of the smaller demons in some of the early floors of Naraku, like floor one and floor two, um, just look really haggard. It's just there's a level of quality that you've come to expect from the demons in the SMT games. Not only from the demons you see in your party, but also when you go and look at the sort of the bigger portraits that are drawn a little differently in like the descriptions for each type of demon in the game. And there are some demons that just they look rushed. Like that's what's so weird is some of them are just sort of like someone just banged out five in a day and
yeah.
you're fighting two of them. It's just sort of like this. It's not the quality level that you expect from Atlas.
Maybe I'm maybe I'm a little bit more immune to this because I played more of the because you didn't never played any of the other DS SMT games, have you?
No, I've always meant to go back and play Strange Journey,
Yeah.
but that's an 80
Yeah.
hours I don't have.
Well, Strange Journey has more adult artwork, but like the Devil Survivor games,
I played a little
uh,
bit of Devil Survivor 1. Yeah.
but those are like a lot more cartoony, I think, than the
Yeah,
rest of
that's
the
true.
SMT. And
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet that they dug in on those assets to
Oh,
make
that's a good
this
point.
one.
Yeah.
Because that game definitely was lacking in the art, and I didn't hold it against it because it was on the DS.
And it
uh,
seemed like sometimes a stylistic choice. They were really going for
yeah,
a more sort of anime style for a lot of the characters than what you see in Persona and the mainline SMT games. But I think why I'm being a little bit harder on is because the game, the story that the game is telling is a little bit more mature than maybe what you get in Devil Survivor and Persona. It seems more like Strange Journey, Devil Summoner, the games,
Yeah.
and for a mainline Atlas game, a Persona game, a regular SMT game, I sort of have a high expectation of quality of it because we don't get these games that often. So I really enjoy it as being sort of a spectacle. Like here's what
Yeah.
JRPGs were and always have been for like a really quality JRPG. Like there's nothing wrong with it. The music is great, the writing is great, solid voice acting, and then all of the art throughout the game is really great. And in the grand scheme of things, it's not bad, but it's just sort of a little bit of a letdown for an Atlas
Yeah.
game.
I get where you're coming from there. It
Yeah.
was, I think, like I like my 3DS, but I was a little bit disappointed when I found out SMT4 was going to be on 3DS and
Yeah.
not on, if not one of the mainline consoles, like the PS Vita or something like
Right.
that. But I guess that probably curbed my expectations a little bit. It is disappointing, but at the same time, man, uh, I guess I can't say that because that might be a spoiler. Like, I have a theory about what's going on in the game,
Yeah.
and it's making me want to go back and beat Strange Journey
Right.
just so I can see if,
If your theory's correct.
yeah. Well, I don't know how much of a spoiler that is because it's all conjecture.
Yeah, it,
Oh,
it kind of makes me want to play Strange Journey because I recognize some of the stuff in SMT4 that I know is from
yeah.
Strange Journey, and I'm sort of like, why? Like, not that it's a bad thing. It's just sort of like, are these? Are we in the same? Is that who?
Yeah.
Like I have more questions where I'm like, well, I should just go play it because I mean, it has to be right. I don't, isn't it?
It's it has all these weird little nuggets just all around where you're like, is this a sequel?
Yeah, it's like, is this what's going on?
I am so curious about it.
Yeah, but
God,
it's I absolutely love it. I don't think I've had a JRPG pull me in like this in quite a while, and especially on the 3DS. There were a bunch of DS games that I really liked like that, but not to the point where I'm laying in bed every night and trying to knock out like an hour or two of a JRPG. I just it's so 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 good and exactly the type of JRPG that reminds me why I love Atlas and reminds me why they're kind of kings of the JRPG right now because they can take a game that is I think $50 on 3DS. I mean it's a pretty
yeah,
pricey game, but the amount of game and the quality of game that you're getting here, nevertheless, doing half of the side quest. I haven't even done half of the side quests, and recently I discovered that you can get side quests by talking to demons. So here you go. That's even more stuff in this game.
yeah. I've done a few of those. Have you,
There's just so much game, and it's so high quality that it reminds me why I love the games that Atlas puts out.
so have you downloaded any of the side quests?
I downloaded the stuff that was free when the game launched.
Yeah.
I've decided to not really do the experience one because it seemed like
Oh,
it
they have
was.
an experience one?
Yeah, it might have been $1. I don't know. Maybe that wasn't the free one, but they basically teleport you to a different area, and every enemy you kill has a very high chance of dropping an item that increases your experience. It just flat out gives you experience.
Wow.
Um, I'm sure it's really good for people that are new to the series and probably need to just kind of steamroll their way through it. But I kind of like getting to an SMT boss and being like, okay, well, I hope I can beat. Nope, I'm dead. You know,
Mm,
like that sort of one turn and you're dead sort of boss, where it's like, okay, now I got to go fuse some guys so I can have a strength against that thing, and then
yeah.
exploit his weakness from to this thing. You know, that sort of thing. But
So
and I also
so
downloaded the armor since I pre-ordered it from Amazon, and that might be one of the best pre-order bonuses ever because the armor is made out of Amazon Prime boxes,
yeah.
and it's pretty awesome. And it was actually really good armor that I kept on for like 10 or 15 hours.
Yeah, I've been wearing that white armor I got from one of the quests the whole time.
Yeah,
But
the white samurai armor. I'm still wearing that like 30 hours in.
jeez, it's that good, huh?
There's nothing else that's way better because most of the stuff that I'll get increases your HP by like 30, but it's decreasing 2 or 3 out of your stats. And it's like, well,
Mm.
I'm not interested in that. I'm not having that much trouble.
Oh, real quick. You also can street pass with app points from a Soul Hacker save.
Oh,
So make if you haven't started a game on that, you may just want to start it to get a save.
interesting.
Um, but yeah. Man, there's something else I was about to say about this too. Yeah, I'm probably not going to mess with any of the online stuff for a long time
Yeah,
because there's so much stuff in game already. There's just
yeah.
no real point. Um, Man, it's a really great game. I can't. I'm excited to get back into it. I had to take a little bit of a break, but that's just because I was trying to beat some other games.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. You have anything else to say about? Oh,
No.
wait.
Oh, yeah.
I do have one more thing. And this may just be my ignorance because I don't exactly know what play points are. Should
Me
I be
neither.
a like?
Charon one time was like, "Hey man, do you want to resurrect with the 6 play points you have?" And I was like, yes. And he's like, "All right, thanks. See you later." And I was just like, I don't know how I got those, and
Well, and I gather there's some weird currency thing. Like, okay, this is what I figured out about them. There's some weird currency that has to do with the 3DS.
yeah, like the OS level.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I don't
I don't know how I got
exactly.
them.
Like, I think some people have said you get them by walking, and you have a maximum.
Some
And
street passing thing.
I'm the way I've been playing is when I die, I hit the home button, I exit the game, I start up the game, and then
Yeah,
I
yeah.
reload. And I'm wondering, like, is it a big deal to spend street points? So if maybe someone knows that, they could write in or tweet
Yeah.
in or something. And
Enlighten us 3DS noobs.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
should I be afraid to spend those or should I not? Because
Yeah.
I have like 200 or something of them,
Oh wow.
and like when you die, usually it's like 9 or so points to resurrect.
Hmm. That's not too bad.
And yeah, it seems like it shouldn't be, but I'm just afraid that's like money or something.
Hmm.
uh,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Yeah, the Reaper guy's pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah, the only other thing I have to say about SMT4 is just go buy it. If you love RPGs, I mean this is probably one of the best this year. I'm gonna guess.
And it doesn't show you its full hand
No.
for for at least 10 hours, and for all I know they could have an entirely different
Yeah.
view of things in another 30 or 40. So
Yeah, I'm playing another game where it's very typical tropey sort of JRPG, and it's been kind of nice playing SMT4 because I'm like, I just I don't know where I'm going, but I'm really interested. I do not know what's going on, but I'm gonna be shocked as hell when I figure it out, and there are twists and turns all over the place, and I love it.
yeah, yeah. Let's see. I started playing Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep.
Ooh, yeah,
Did I get that name right? It's a long one.
yeah,
So everything you said about that DLC is true. That is an awesome DLC.
yeah. Especially as RPG fans, it's sort of like I like it.
Yeah, it's so much fun. And having all the different enemies that you haven't faced before,
Hmm.
and having all this different, just fun as hell story elements between freaking oh, I forgot his name, explosions guy, Torg.
Oh, Torg, yeah.
like having him in the story too,
Yep.
and having Tiny Tina just not understand quite a few things.
Yeah.
Like I almost like the DLC. I haven't beaten it yet, but I almost like the DLC better than I do the main game.
Yeah.
uh,
Well, it's
but the
really.
DLC it
No, go
can't
ahead.
exist without the main game though. So it's
Yeah. Well, it's really. I think in a lot of the reviews I've seen, I think that a lot of people are really discounting the new enemies because it in a lot of the other DLC uh, packages, it's always sort of been like, oh well, this thing is like the berserker, and this thing is like the dude who you shoot the helmet off, and this thing is this guy is like the normal enemies, and it's always a 1-to-1 correlation between it's just this guy's a reskin of this other guy, but the those there are those really cool bone enemies where you have to pull the sword out of their backs. It's like that's a type of enemy you've never run into before. Fighting these skeletons, fighting these teleporting wizard skeletons. It's totally different, and it makes the game feel so much more fresh
yeah,
than anything else really has.
yeah. Because like if you think of Borderlands 2 as a whole, like they didn't really. I mean, you had the Goliaths, you had the I can't remember. Like they probably only had maybe 5 or 6 new enemy types.
Yeah,
Then probably variances of all the old ones, absolutely. But
yeah,
um, like it wasn't that much. But seeing like the amount that they got in this was just so much fun.
oh yeah,
Especially when you first, minor spoiler, when you first walk into a village of freaking orcs.
yeah,
What
yeah,
are these doing here? But
yeah,
and I love it every time like Tiny Tina narrates, like your main character basically repeats exactly what she
yeah.
just said. And I've been playing through it as zero, so
Oh
that's
wow, yeah,
extra funny.
man,
But I also managed to get in some multiplayer with the TVGP crew with Angsto 1, 12 Gauge Slug, and Late Elf.
nice.
And we had an absolute blast. They were, it seems, I think it was Angsto 1 who had just gotten the game, or maybe it was 12 Gauge. I don't remember. I'm getting it all wrong. But yeah, it was just a Saturday night. I'd been drinking a bit, and they let me drive, which was fun.
Nice.
But that game is just so much fun with 4 players in it. I don't
Yeah,
even think I've played the first Borderlands with 4 people. Like usually 2 or 3 is where we max out on
yeah,
people available at that time with a character near the level we need to be at.
yeah.
So
My girlfriend and I have a ton of fun playing a couch co-op with our two TVs and our two 360s because it's always really fun having someone there at that moment to sort of be like, oh, I'm down. Oh, thanks. All right. It's
yeah,
always it's kind of fun going through the game with the same person.
yeah, it's definitely nice. Unfortunately, I don't think I've been able to get through the whole game through it, but uh, it breathes. It makes me think I might actually be able to level up the rest of my characters.
Yeah, yeah.
But and then I have also played and beaten Shadowrun Returns now.
Oh,
Um, I think it's a really. Let me think. Maybe I shouldn't start off with my recommendation. We'll start off with like I backed this project. Maybe that gives me a more biased opinion on it. Um, the story and writing in it are superb and fantastic.
yeah. I played a little bit and I was really blown away by the writing in the game. And we
Yeah,
talked about it on TVGP last week that I'm really happy they didn't go and voice act it because I think the writing is so strong. I wouldn't really want someone to be reading it and sort of
yeah.
sully it.
Well, and there's so much variation in the voice acting.
Hmm.
Like instead of, or in the writing, I mean, instead of like a voice actor coming on and just not saying your name or like avoiding sentences where they have to reference your sex,
Hmm.
they directly do those things.
Yeah.
Like the first character that called me a she, because my character is Blitz, and she is a mage adept, which
Nice.
I do not recommend. Um, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But the first time they came on and referenced me in that way, it was just like, oh wow,
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're like, oh, I'm not used to this in RPGs
yeah.
nowadays.
Um, the thing about this game is like, okay, there's been a lot of talk from everywhere really about the save system.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some pros and cons to it, and I'm not going to outright defend it or say it's good by any means. I will say though, it saves every transition you do. The majority of the game, you're going to hit a transition about every 20 to 30 minutes.
That's not too bad.
But there are some very long battles because what will wind up happening is they have a skill in it, in basically a class called decking.
Mm-hmm.
And deckers are hackers. Uh, and hackers can do things from as simple as unlock doors to hack robots to jack into the Matrix, where it's an entirely different level and you run through and do stuff.
Huh.
But the problem is when you find yourself jacking into the Matrix, the majority of time you're still in a real world battle. Um,
Oh.
and the way they do this is you'll have a guy jacked in, and then you'll have infinite enemies coming at you until they're done hacking.
Hmm.
Um, and it'll be like, okay, here's five guys, and we're going to wait so many rounds and then send five more at you. Uh, which is fine, except it makes for some very long battles.
Yeah.
There's probably only about three of those battles in the game, but they all will take an hour, hour and a half.
Hmm.
And when you die near the end of one of those, it is rage-inducing,
Just snap your keyboard
heartbreaking.
over your knee.
Yes. And I died on, like, one of them was my main party died. The other one was my guy in the Matrix, like, got knocked out, and I
Ooh.
couldn't get back to him and died. And the game was too stupid to realize that after my decker died, I didn't have another decker in the party.
Oh.
So it wanted to still go, so I had to manually quit. And
Oof.
um, but uh, like one of the things you can do to avoid losing battles is don't pick a melee class. The mage adept is my whole shtick is I'm a street monk that uses magic fists.
Right.
I cast spells on myself. Like it's nice because I don't really have to worry about equipment for the most part, but at the same time I still have to close distance. I have to be able to dodge physical attacks,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to do a bunch of buff spells before I can even attack someone.
Oh, yeah.
Um, the nice thing about spellcasting in the game is like spellcasting is not mana based; it's just based on your action points per turn.
Oh,
And
nice.
so, but on the other hand, it's like, well, I need to cast three buff spells on myself before I run out and hit someone, and I only have two action points per turn, so it's going to be
Whoops.
1.5 turns before I can attack someone, and I will probably have gotten shot by then.
Yeah.
Um, the I think starting out, like the best classes to play would be something like a rigger or someone who uses lots of guns,
Yeah.
like a street samurai or
I think
something.
I picked Street Samurai or Rigger. I don't remember because I think I picked Street Samurai because just the name of the class was so insane. I was like, well, I have to pick that one.
Yeah. Well, and it's Street Samurai is essentially just your fighter class, from what I
Mhm.
can tell. I'm sure there's lots of cool benefits to it, but it's if you're looking to cast spells or do anything besides shoot some dudes, then you may want to look elsewhere.
Yeah.
Um, the the riggers are a really cool class. Like if I go through the game again and make a new character, I'm probably going to choose a rigger with some decking skills.
Hmm.
What riggers do is they basically have remote controlled robots that do things for them,
Oh, yeah.
which is awesome. Like the robots can carry items, can throw grenades, and shoot stuff.
Oh, wow.
And at the same time, while like, let's say you have two action points, you only have one robot. So you only sacrifice one action point to constantly use that robot. So you can still shoot guys as well.
Oh, hmm.
So you're not completely stuck. And on top of that, judging from some of the people I hired to go on runs with me, um, you can get more than one robot at a time.
Hmm.
And the game, I think it maxes out at 3 action points, but I also wonder if my game glitched because it sounded like it was going to give me a fourth, and then I died, and then it never brought up that message again. So
Whoops.
yeah, the oh man, what else to say about this game? The music for it's kind of bland. Like there's not a lot of animations in it.
The art
Uh,
style is amazing, though.
the levels look freaking awesome. Yeah,
Yeah, like that real, like the way you really want a steampunk, or I mean, a cyberpunk game to look, where everything is at the same time futuristic, but also at the same time like the dirtiest back alley you've ever seen.
yeah. It's wonderful, and the writing's so good. It's this cyberpunk film noir style.
Yeah.
It's so fantastic.
I
The
really have
sto-
to get back to playing that because I sort of when I bought it I wasn't a backer so I think I had heard about the save stuff but they maybe were talking about looking at it before the game came out or something. I bought it day one when it came out and played like the tutorial, the quasi tutorial mission, and then I read some article somewhere. I think it might have been on a Penny Arcade report about the save problems. And I was like, well, man, I don't know if I have enough time to kind of sit there and play this game for like an hour at a time. That's not a lot of time that I always have. I'd sort of rather play SMT4 right now because that has a save anywhere. So
yeah, I and I part of me wonders if they did the kind of checkpoint save system because they want you to realize the amount of options you have per level.
oh
Um,
yeah,
like I've been theorizing about this a lot because there's a lot of conversation options. Like there are class specific conversations options. I don't think there are any race specific ones, but I've been an elf. I could be wrong.
hmm
Oh wait, no, I think there was at least one elf conversation specific
I'd be
option.
surprised if there wasn't.
Like there's charisma speaking options, there's Decker speaking options, there's like almost every skill in that game has an avenue for a conversation unlock.
Yeah,
Um, and they don't like they. It seems like they usually show them all, but I'm starting to suspect that they don't. I could be wrong.
hmm.
Um, but there's a lot of things in this game, and I'm not even 100% sure that like a lot of the conversation system matters most of the time.
Hmm.
It's just you kind of role playing your character.
Oh, so you think they did this checkpoint saving thing? So if you kind of get to a point in a pre-battle setup that really didn't go the way you wanted, you can just be like, nope. All right, I'm loading my last save. That went totally pear shaped. I'm gonna try that again.
Yeah. Well, they would have had that, and I also really think they want you to kind of experiment with the
Yeah,
different ways you can solve. And I don't, and in a way that might seem like contradictory because you would think experiment, well, I want to save and then experiment. But
yeah,
it kind of makes you stick with some of the decisions you've made. But it's not like as decision heavy as like Walking Dead or Mass Effect or something.
right, right.
Um, and by decision heavy, I mean like as far as your decisions carrying through to wherever.
hmm
And I could be wrong at that too. I mean, who knows? Maybe you tick off some different gangs and things in this game, so maybe they come back in the Berlin expansion.
Yeah,
Um, but it's I don't know. The save game thing's weird. I wish they hadn't done it so they wouldn't have taken the grief from it because I think a lot of people are going to like this game, but at the same time it's also I'd hate to say making a game off $3 million is making it on a dime, but it judging from what they put out it was.
yeah. And I think it's especially difficult for for RPGs because they, by their nature, they have to be big and they have to be expansive and they have to give you all those options. You know, it can't just be. Look at Final Fantasy 13. It was universally decried because it was such a linear experience that I think nobody is really willing to make an RPG right now that is a linear experience, even if it's high quality, because that's not really what RPG fans want.
Well, and the story in this game is very linear. Like
Yeah,
you're not in an open world. Like you get to wander around like a block of town or a couple blocks of town. Um, but it's all kind of in supporting of the story.
Hmm.
There are a couple optional side quests. I guess the other biggest piece of advice I could say is when you get money, don't spend it all. You're gonna have to hire runners, and
Oh yeah.
it generally costs $1,000 to $2,000 a runner. So when you get that $8,000 the first time, don't just be like, I'm buying all the equipment ever,
Yeah,
because
remember runners ain't cheap.
you're going to be the only one on that next mission, and you're going to die.
Yeah.
They do. I guess back to the save system. They do let you go back to any of your previous checkpoints.
Oh, that's
Um,
nice.
so you can rewind quite a bit, and they actually call the function rewinding when you look at it.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
but
that is pretty nice, especially if you get into a situation that you made a mistake 2 missions ago, and you spent all your money and you couldn't hire anyone, and you're just sort of scraping by. You don't have to restart the entire game. You can just say, "All right, I'm going to go back to that point. I'll I'll eat 2 missions. I made a mistake. Let's try and figure this out from
yeah,
that point again."
well, and for the most part, like you can get through. You can if you already know what you're doing and what's available and what you did. Like what took you 30 minutes to an hour is going to take you like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
The only part where it slows down is if you have to repeat a battle with like a dozen dudes, because
Yeah.
that's gonna take a while, no matter what. And the chaos factor of never being sure if you're gonna do 1 damage or 20 damage
Yeah.
will change things up quite a bit. Like just as an experiment today, I downloaded a mod that lets you import your character from the beaten Dead Man's Switch campaign and
Mhm.
start it over.
Oh wow.
Um, and I've been going like I what took me probably 2 or 3 hours the first time, like I got done in like 30 to 45 minutes.
Oh wow.
And I'm even like choosing slightly different options in places, and uh, like you go to this junkie's house early on in the game, or this junkie apartment building early on in the game, and I had enough charisma to take a different option this time.
Oh
So
nice.
I went in through kind of this backdoor thing. Um,
See, that's the other thing we didn't talk about either is because this game is so moddable out the gate that I think that's what really attracts me to it, and especially on Steam being part of the Steam Workshop. Hopefully it's like a Neverwinter Nights sort of thing where people are just making new campaigns for it forever.
I agree. Someone's already, of course, remaking the SNES game,
Yep.
and
Which I love. As someone who never really played either the Super NES or the Genesis ones, like that sounds great. Remake those assets. Do whatever you want. We were talking about it on TVGP as well. That's a really great reason for there to not be voice acting in the game. So people can just write whatever they want for any of these additional campaigns and not have to worry about voice acting anything.
yeah. Honestly, if I see even like a fraction of the quality of writing, and I see like direct references to your characters and their class or their sex or whatever
Hmm.
in like the Obsidian and the In Exile one Kickstarters, I will be massively happy.
Oh yeah,
Like it was jarring at first going back to text, but seeing it done so well is it very much makes me excited about it again.
yeah.
But I think it's a game people should check out. Just one, don't spend all your money. Two, don't pick a melee class. Especially, I really screwed myself near the end camp like level. During the end, you start fighting this specific type of enemy where you basically have to kill them twice.
Mm.
The second time you kill them, you have to use a special weapon. And they give your entire party these special weapons. Well, little did I know that the runners I chose, their inventories were maxed, and
Oh.
I didn't really look at it, so they didn't get those. So I went into this last mission with two melee guys, because one of them's kind of forced on you, although that character's a lot of fun. And my two melee guys were the ones with the special guns to kill
Oh,
them.
whoops.
And it was so frustrating. I was literally yelling at my computer. I have not yelled at a game in a long time. But I think if you pick basically any of the other classes.
Yeah, you'll probably be okay.
Yeah, like I think mage is a real good choice. I suspect shamans would be terrible to choose. I could be wrong, but they seem kind of terrible to me.
Hmm.
Because being a mage adept, I had a couple shaman skills just by default, and I went ahead and leveled up a shaman skill just so I could take this one conversation option. And I was never happy by summoning anything shaman wise. It was good for a distraction for a turn or two, and that was it.
Yeah.
But let's see. I've also what else did I play? I briefly played Persona 4, just because I wanted something easy and simple, and I had already had a new game plus going.
For
Uh,
Golden or the regular one?
Golden, yeah. So I went in there and like I'm barely in the game. It seems I had already saved Yukiko,
Hmm.
and I'd spent all my money on summoning like one like really expensive demon for my
Yeah.
compendium, so I didn't have to worry until I got to like I went to the secret boss that takes up I say secret the new demon that shows up in Yukiko's castle,
Yeah.
and then discovered he was like level 16 and I was like level 11, and I'm didn't matter. Like the first time he hits anyone in my party, I die.
Yeah.
So I guess I do have to do some grinding, unfortunately. But um, let's see. So then I also played. I downloaded a game called Fallen Enchantress. Fallen Enchantress is by. Oh, I can't remember. They're the company who just. This might spoil one of our news stories, but they just bought Starduck. They're by Starduck. They just bought the Star Control
Oh,
IP,
yeah.
and Steam had a sale on it. And I've been curious about this game for a while because I've heard comparisons to Master of Magic.
Hmm.
Um, and I also wanted to be like, I'm really happy things are happening with Star Control, but I wanted to be assured that it was in good hands. Fallen Enchantress is a really weird game in that it's like Masters of Magic, which is made by the same people who did Masters of Orion. It's kind of that turn-based strategy RPG type game where you pick a race of something and then you build a city and then you try and conquer the world type thing.
Hmm.
Kind of Civ-like, but like the AIs in this game, like it's such higher creatures so early on. Like even on easy level, it's very difficult for me to figure out a good way to play this. It's really neat because you have all these skill trees and things for your cities to open up new technologies and new classes or
Well, that's kind of
uh,
neat.
new resource gaining abilities. Like they have so much cool stuff in this game. It's just the problem is I want to sit around and build up all my cities and make new cities, and they start you out right next to a bunch of bad guys every single time, and like there's no telling. Like you might just be like, I'm gonna put my settler here, and then the bad guy's like, I'm gonna send my giant dragon over to you that you have nothing that can take for settling too close to me.
Oh, man.
And then like I don't know. If I lose a city, I tend to start over. But it's a neat game. I don't know if I'll play it anymore. I may just wait for the next Steam sale and buy part two, which will hopefully be a little bit more balanced.
Yeah.
But it's I guess it's also cool because you get to really role play your main. Maybe not role play. You get to customize your main hero character in the game quite a bit. Because they'll have like a set of heads and to choose from, and they'll have a set of weapons and things like that.
Oh, nice.
But it was neat. And then lastly, I played some more Final Fantasy V.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
I was actually playing this a whole bunch, and then SMT4 came out, and then I stopped playing it. Um, I man, I'm trying to remember where I was in it. I got my third class, and I've decided you were right, and that all you really need is a red mage in your party, and you're good.
Yep.
That is a great class.
Yeah, it sort of plateaus about halfway through the game because it can't use the third level of spells.
Mhm.
Um, but early on in the game, having both black and white magic, it's such a
Yeah,
lifesaver.
yeah. The black mages are nice and tough. The Beastmaster, I don't know
That's
about
a
the
weird class.
Beastmaster. Yeah, like it's it almost is like some of the iterations of Blue Mage in Final Fantasy, like
Yep.
where you knock a guy down a whole bunch and then you can tame him and then you
Yep.
throw him at the next bad guy. But I don't really know who the best people are to capture, and I probably need to look that up.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some like horribly in-depth 5,000 word fact on GameFAQs about it.
Yeah, it's but I'm really enjoying the game so far, and it's such a pity that well, it's a pity and wonderful that SMT4 came out
Yeah.
when it did, but it probably means it's going to be a long time before I really get back to it. But
Yeah.
okay, now that I've talked for forever and a day, it's your turn.
All right. This isn't entirely an RPG, but my girlfriend and I are playing through Dragon's Crown. I want to
Oh,
talk about it because it's kind of an RPG and it's from Atlas, and we love Atlas. So,
I forgot I played that too.
oh yeah. Um, I'm not here to talk about the art. I know everyone will want to. Um, I like the style. I don't like the content a lot of times. I'm gonna leave it at that. Um, this game is really great. I was expecting a fairly standard sort of magic based side scrolling hack and slash, but man, the each class is totally different. My girlfriend is playing as the dwarf, which she chose because he can throw people, and it's awesome. And I picked the elf, which I really wanted a range class, and I didn't realize the elf was so incredibly fast moving that it's a very very fun fast moving combo based character. Like I'm throwing dudes up in the air and jumping up and slinging arrows while I'm hovering in the air, like really cool stuff. Um, and I did not expect for it to have as much equipment, juggling and customization and learning spells and finding stuff in the background, and that's a really good game. I was expecting kind of a simple, straightforward hack and slash, but my girlfriend and I played. I think the first time we sat down and played, we probably played for about 2.5 hours, and that's just a blast. Especially to play couch co-op is just a hell of a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. Like last night, I had a bunch of friends over and we played four player co-op,
Nice.
and man, that was a blast.
Yeah.
I think we had all the women in our party plus a dwarf,
Yeah.
and like two of the guys had never played a game before or played that game before and didn't own a PS3, so they're getting used to the controllers. And then like someone picks them up with the dwarf, and none of us knew that could
Oh
happen. And
man, that's awesome.
one of them was the sorceress, and I guess she equips spells like items.
Oh, interesting.
So you kind of scroll through them, and she runs really funny.
Yeah, that is
But
interesting.
the I picked the Amazon. Like the first time I played, I was playing with Susie, and she wanted the Amazon, so I was like,
Hmm.
at least I think she's called the Amazon. I don't know what she's called.
Yeah, it's
You,
something like that.
the chick with the huge thighs.
Yeah, Chun Li.
Yeah. And she is so much fun to play. Like all I'm doing is jumping in the air and twirling with my axe, and
Nice.
you can just like you could mid jump with that going on.
Oh wow.
It is so much fun. And then of course, like the first time I played it, I picked the elf with the cross with the bow,
Yeah,
like you did, and have the exact same comments. And whoever played
just a
that
lot of fun.
whoever played that character last night got the most points. But another fun part about the four-player game is, and I didn't realize it till we'd played for like an hour. I'm like, we can only hurt like punch each other in town, like when there are
Yeah, isn't
enemies
that
on the
weird?
screen. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it's so like there's a lot of weird stuff. Like the one thing that has been frustrating us as we've been playing it, and I understand why they did this, but I don't agree with it. Is that it's so hard. Any shop in town, the first person into the shop is the one who's controlling the shop for their
Yeah.
character. I really, really, really wish there was a way for the person that was currently controlling the shop to switch to another character so we didn't have to go out of the shop and say, okay, now it's your turn, now you go in and take care of your stuff. I really, really wish that I could just say, all right, I'm done, I'm going to pick player two, the store flips, and now player two is controlling it. Like that,
Yeah.
that for us has been not really a frustration point. I know why they did it because they really want you to play it online multiplayer, which you can't unlock for about the first 6 to 8 hours. Um, and I understand that they probably just wanted, whoever at your local one is first in the shop, whatever, because the other three people are going to be doing whatever they want on their PS3s. But if you're playing it local co-op, that is it's incredibly frustrating to say, "Oh, I thought I went in first. Oh, I guess I'll just kind of sit here and watch you
Yep.
pick a bunch of equipment and stuff."
And that with four players where you've
Yeah,
all been drinking is almost
yeah. At
intolerable.
that point, you
Um,
just walk to the right side of the screen and just start fighting more stuff. I
yeah,
sort of wish they had an arcade mode for that game where it's almost laid out like Streets
yeah,
of Rage, where it's just like I got a bunch of people. We've been drinking pretty heavily. I just want to smash on some stuff and fight
yeah.
some really big bosses. Let's just march through a bunch of levels one after the other.
I agree. Yeah, I think that would be awesome. That would have
Yeah,
been perfect for last night. And
yeah.
but either way, it's still so much fun. I'm gonna have to get it
Yeah,
for Vita too eventually.
yeah. It has cross save, so
Yeah,
you can do all that. I'm really looking forward to playing it. And any game that I can play with my girlfriend on the couch is always really really appreciated, especially for. We really like playing games that are cooperative and not competitive because we
yeah,
don't want to fight, you know.
yeah,
And I really like that all your score. So for anybody that hasn't played it, any of the score you generate through the level by beating enemies or opening chests or finding little things in the background and collecting those, all of that goes into one shared pool, and everyone shares that experience at the end of the level. So it's not, one person did really well and they gained 2 levels, and this one person died all the time, so they didn't get anything. Like it's I really like that it's totally fair. You all share the same equipment. You have your sort of shared equipment thing. You share money. You share experience. It's this. There's sort of so far we've had a lot of back and forth where it's like, all right, I'm gonna I'm gonna go buy this cloak for myself because this gives me a lot of stuff that my character needs. But we'll have enough money at the end for you to go ahead and buy this thing, and then after that we'll go spend our skill points on all sorts of stuff. So really really cool, really fun. I'm really looking forward to playing more of it. And thankfully couch co-op works
yeah.
relatively well. My last game this month, this just came out, and I popped it in yesterday and played for 2 to 2.5 hours. I think is Tales of Xillia. Um, this game is good, and I really like the Tales games. It already seems like it's not as good as the last two Tales games, which are Vesperia and Abyss that I played, which those are kind of the pinnacle of the Tales series. So I really can't. I'm not going to hold that against it because I kind of can't expect that. Um, but it seems very tropey so far. It seems very much. Um, you're going to get the people in your party that are the mercenary with a shadowy past who's really hurt, and he plays it off jovially. Um, but I do sort of like the main characters. The bummer of it is the beginning of the game. They ask you which of the two main characters you want to play as. Jude is the guy, and Amelia is the lady. I really, really wanted to play as the lady because I really like playing women in games. But everything I read beforehand was saying if you play, she's really meant for second playthrough because they don't explain a lot of stuff in the story that you're sort of expected to know after you've played the game as Jude. So you're sort
Mm,
of seeing what she's doing when you're not with these guys, and vice versa. Um, so I picked Jude, and the writing is okay. The voice acting is fine. I really like Melia's voice actress because she has a deeper voice. She doesn't have this, stereotypical anime high pitched heroine sort of voice. The battle system, of course, is great. They added some stuff about linking two characters together so that they kind of fight on either side of enemies and kind of pair up their skills. Um, there's a lot of little changes that they put in that make it really fun. And what I like about it is it's just a Tales game. You know, the enemies, the one of my favorite things about Tales games are the antagonists are always way too over the top and just like these horrible caricatures of evil, mustache twirling monsters. Um, but I really like that about that. And usually the voice actors aren't that great, so it's just almost even worse, like B movie stylings. It always has an animated intro with some sort of J-pop song over it. The it. I really like every once in a while. I really like a JRPG that um, sort of meets those tropes and plays into those tropes without being stereotypical. I know exactly what's going to happen. The main character at the beginning is going to school, and oh my god, he's doing something different in his day he's never done before. So let's go save the world. Like that sort of stuff. But I kind of like it when the gameplay is good, the graphics are great. I mean, it's the standard Tales, bright and cheery, blue sky, really great looking game. And I'm looking forward to playing it. I'm curious to see if it does what Abyss and Vesperia did, which is, halfway through the game, it sort of turned the story on its head, and it's sort of like, oh well, that's all right. That sort of exceeded my expectations. This is a much different game than I was playing up until that point, and that's characters are growing and getting more interesting. And if not,
Yeah.
that's a fun little romp. It's just a solid JRPG to play. HD. You kind of can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's really all I've been playing since SMT4 has been taking up my entire life. So let's take a break.
Okay.
I need to keep drinking stuff here. I'm wrecking my voice. Me.
Yeah, that was a good
Hi, Tiny Cat.
30 to 45 minutes of SMT.
Yeah. Well,
That's awesome. Okay, I'm gonna get a drink.
All right. Hi. How are you? Hello to everyone in chat. How's everyone going? Doing? Whatever. Oh, I forgot to do some show notes here. Let's knock this out here.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Yeah, there are too many games to play right now.
Yeah, it is an embarrassment of riches.
Yeah, I don't, I don't have enough free time.
Yeah. Uh, Alright. I am ready to record the next segment whenever you are.
Yeah, right. I think. Yeah, I'm good.
Alright, starting in three, two, one. Let's talk RPG releases for August 2013. Tales of Xillia for PS3 came out on the 6th, alongside Dragon's Crown for PS3 and Vita, same day. Mario and Luigi Dream Team for the 3DS comes out on the 11th, the day after the show, day before the show came out. Also have that pre-ordered. Do not know where I'm going to find the time to play that, probably ever, but I am looking forward to it. I haven't played a Mario and Luigi game since the first one, maybe. So, yipes. Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn coming out for PS3 and PC on the 27th. A lot of beta tests going on around that. A lot of people seem pretty positive about that. I've heard pretty good things about that lately. So,
Honestly, it seems to me like they've tried so hard to make that game work that I almost just want to see it like
yeah, I just want to see it succeed,
yeah,
just on
like
pure gumption.
make ends meet because I'm gonna feel
Yeah,
real bad if they just yeah, we're in Final Fantasy because 14 didn't do any good.
yeah, exactly. And last, Diablo 3 coming out for PS3 and 360 on September 3rd. Those are expected to come out on Xbox One and PS4, but no known release dates for those. All right, let's move on to news stories here. Got a couple news stories about In Exile. Partners with Deep Silver to physically distribute Wasteland 2. So great. You don't want to use Steam. Don't want to use probably come out on good old games.
Well, they'll still release it through Steam, but
Yeah.
like what they're doing is they're using it Deep Silver to deliver like physical copies to stores, and they're using Deep Silver to deliver the backer rewards. Um,
Oh, that's smart.
yeah, so and that was evidently in like the letter. That's one thing Brian Fargo said. He's like, "Yeah, we were never going to spend time doing that."
Yeah, we'd
So,
probably rather make the game instead of
yeah.
shipping a bunch of T-shirts and stuff.
Like, and for those that don't know, like Brian Fargo and Chris Aveline were the big interplay guys back in the day.
Hmm.
Like they're responsible for almost all the 90s RPG, PC RPGs in
Hmm.
general. So this is something they've done before.
Yeah.
uh,
Beta testing starts in October. Release date announced once data is analyzed. And then pretty shortly after that, they came out and said that they were delaying it to increase player choice, which, out of the gate sounds a little bit sort of like, well, really? But they laid out what I thought was really interesting. They're saying, giving a couple examples, like if you kill an NPC or a party member, kick someone out of your group, the entire world is going to react accordingly. You're going to miss out on quests. You might miss out on entire sections of the game if you kill someone. If you break ties with them, they're really trying to balance a lot of variables here to try and give each person a unique experience through the choices that they make in the game.
yeah. I guess technically I'll probably be able to get in the beta test. Because I'm pretty sure I'm at close to $100 tier. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
But I don't know if I want to play the beta though.
yeah, almost
Like,
like wait until it's done.
yeah, I'd rather just play the finished product. I don't like unless it's an MMO or something like that. I don't see the point of betas.
Yeah,
Like for me as a player,
yeah,
I see the point from the company's perspective, absolutely. But um, Like, I want to keep my save data and keep playing the game, and I don't really want to start over. Uh, for me, a beta may as well be a demo.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, the player choice thing sounded weird because the whole point of Wasteland was player choice.
Right.
Um, but like the story was, pretty thin in the original. I haven't played a ton of the original, but like a lot of it is just things you run into and stuff like that. But your party members and NPCs can die at any time. So,
Actually, speaking of the original, I forgot to put this in the show notes, but they're planning on coming out with the original on Good Old Games and Steam here
oh
before
yeah,
Wasteland 2 comes out. So that's for me. I've always really been sort of interested in at least experiencing Wasteland, even if it's probably a little bit hard to play nowadays. But
it's
I'd almost like to at least try.
it is super 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 old.
Yeah,
Like I tried playing it I think a year ago when the Kickstarter happened, and it was just
a little
it was
rough.
too it was too old. It's
Yeah,
I spent quite a bit of time in some FAQs. Maybe they'll add a couple modern conveniences to it, but I doubt it.
yeah. I'm
Uh,
assuming that they're just gonna
yeah,
put a DOSBox wrapper around it and call it a day.
I would for anyone interested, I would definitely look up a FAQ. Treat this as what it is, an 80s, early 90s RPG. That
Hmm.
means you got to do a lot of reading before you ever even start playing because
Yeah, exactly.
the game's not going to explain the systems to you, and you need to understand those systems or at least have an FAQ tell you what party to roll up
Yeah,
so that you aren't super dead immediately.
yeah,
Because it starts you out just in the middle of a desert. Which way are you going to wander?
yeah, yeah. What are you gonna do?
Uh, yeah, and everything can kill you at the start. So,
Yeah.
just something to keep in mind. And maybe the better idea might be to find a save game editor for it and just
Oh,
give your
true.
guys some awesome stats or find a save game file you can download that puts you at the beginning of the game that just lets you run over anything you run into.
Yeah, good point.
Um, anyway, just some
Uh,
ideas.
Next news story here: Stardock picks up the Star Control IP and plans a reboot. I know you know a lot more about Star Control than me. Why don't you take this one away?
I am super excited that anyone is doing anything with the Star Control license. From playing that Elemental game, like I, and looking at Starduck's, uh, repertoire of things, I think they're probably pretty well suited for this. Um, like in essence, the things they got to get right is it's got to be this open galaxy. You're in a spaceship and customizing your spaceship, while at the same time having these almost point and clicker style elements where you'll run into different aliens and have conversation options with them on creating treaties and things like that.
Yeah,
And there's also certain humor that all the games have that I think is necessary.
yeah. They had
Um,
mentioned in their acquisition that they thought that the humor standpoint of it is really important in the series, and I've always heard that that is important where it is in space and it's it's a space strategy game, but it's also kind of a little goofy at the same time.
yeah, like it's not slapstick, but it's you know what? It's like Avengers.
Yeah,
That that movie has a lot of humor in it, but by no means would you term it a comedy.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and I'd say it's along the same lines as that. You're gonna run into some goofy aliens, like the Spothy, who are their entire race is a bunch of cowards. So while the aliens, like the enemies, are taking over the whole galaxy, like they'll give people an option: either A, you can join our army, or B, we're going to put this red slave shield around your planet so you can't go anywhere. And the Spothy somehow accidentally got recruited into the army, so their entire goal in allying with you, you find out, was to study the Earth's slave shield and put it up around their own planet. Uh, but they're a hilarious race.
yeah. Next news story here. At QuakeCon, the Elder Scrolls Anthology was announced. For $80, you get all of the Elder Scrolls games, including all the expansions and DLC. So that's like 300 games in total. You also get 5 physical maps detailing each of the lands of each mainline game. So that's kind of a cool package.
I think so. I
Yeah.
love those maps, and I'm upset because I'm only missing one, and I'm totally buying this just so I can get the one I'm missing.
Well, and I think for
Um,
for a lot of people too, it can be challenging to run Elder Scrolls 1 through 3. Um, and it's nice that they're modernizing. Say, well, here's the original game, but Windows 7, Windows 8, you got that. It's gonna run.
yeah,
Here's the DVD. So.
I'll be curious to see how Daggerfall runs because even on emulation and DOSBox, I've gotten the impression that game really doesn't run well.
Hmm.
It probably should be noted, not that too many people probably realize this, but there are a bunch of side story Elder Scrolls games like Battlespire and Redguard, which I own, that are not included in this.
Oh, so these are just like the
Yeah,
mainline 5 games.
yeah, but you get
Interesting.
all the DLC for it. Another thing to note, the original Arena, um, they actually have some special item quests in Arena that
Hmm.
you can enable just by editing a text file.
Oh,
Um, and they're all super good items. So I would very much recommend doing that and going after a few of them. Especially since I think one of them is called a Mace of Pass Wall, which you take a mace, you hit the wall, and it disappears. I cannot tell you how wonderful that is for
interesting.
dungeons. But it's a power they never enabled any other time.
Hmm. Yeah, this is $80 PC only, coming out on September 10th. So
It
go
looks like
check that biz out.
it's a really nice looking box.
That's true. Yeah. Next news story. Let's talk about good Breath of Fire stuff first. Breath of Fire 2 coming to the Wii U Virtual Console in a few months. Breath of Fire 2 is really good. I like Breath of Fire 2, 3, 4, and 5. Never really had an affinity for 1. I think I played it too late. But man, 2 is a solid Super NES RPG. You kind of can't go wrong with that. Um, Capcom also announced Breath of Fire 6 as a multiplayer focused, online only smartphone and PC game. I don't get it. I don't get it, guys.
To quote Jeremy Parish's tweet, I think Capcom's trolling the fans.
Yeah. I mean, people are still upset about 5, which I understand. I think 5 is a really great game. Um,
Was 5 Dragon Quarter?
yeah.
Okay.
Um, I think if you're coming out to announce Breath of Fire 6, I think you really needed to take it back to its roots. Come back to something like 3 and 4, which are really, really great games. But to have Breath of Fire 6 come out like this seems like announcing Final Fantasy 16 only coming to iOS.
Yeah.
Like it just sort of seems like that's you don't really know what your fan base really wants,
Yeah.
and
I
that's
don't,
big bummer.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Uh,
Capcom's always seemed like they were kind of bad about realizing what fans want, though, to be honest.
yeah. Yeah.
Not that I can cite any examples now that I said that, so maybe I'm entirely wrong.
Next news story here is Sega Sammy could buy Atlas. They're one of the primary bidders interested in the company. Market analysts said that an interested company could spend up to 20 billion yen in the purchase. I had no idea that Atlas Japan was nearly that big, but
That's
apparently
good.
they're a pretty big company.
I I don't know who I want to buy Atlas.
I'd almost like to see them go solo. Just be like,
Yeah,
all right, we're just gonna make the games we want to make.
that's that would be the number one preference because, like, I saw the Nintendo rumor, even though there's no like nothing to back it up, just
Yeah,
people theorizing, and that sounds like a nightmare to me because
yeah,
I I want an HD Atlas RPG
yeah,
on my main consoles. I don't want it on the Wii U. I want it on the PS4 or the Xbox One, whatever it's
yeah.
called. Um,
Give me Persona 5 in
yeah,
1080p.
like Sega. I guess their games would come out, but they would receive no marketing,
Yeah,
and they'd
I
probably
think
come out the same day as Call of Duty or something stupid like that.
yeah, I think the only thing that makes me feel better about a possible Sega Sammy purchase is they own Arc System Works, the makers of Guilty Gear, and after they purchased that company, they pretty much said, "All right, just go do your thing, whatever. We own you and we'll give you money, but beyond that, do whatever the hell you want, whatever fighting crazy games you make, not our
Didn't
problem."
know that. That's
Hmm.
awesome. And that would
Yeah,
be even better because you already had P4 Arena. Like,
there you
where's
go,
the next level of that relationship? Now
bringing it
that,
all in house. P5
yeah,
Arena.
man, whatever. P5's gonna have role playable characters from the
Yeah, there you
System
go.
War games.
Bring it back around.
Uh,
Next news story here. Two new EverQuest games announced. EverQuest Next is the first game they announced. Their new big MMO, free to play, massively destructible world. So they were talking about the majority of the world, except for like the main hub cities, are going to be destructible in some sort of way, with procedurally generated underground dungeons. So it sounds like they're writing all this history about the underground of this world, and then making a bunch of crazy random dungeons under there. So that sounds super super interesting. But what excited me the most is SOE took a look at uh, MMOs and RPGs in general and said, for the last 30 years, everyone's been following D&D, where you create your character, you pick a class, that is your class forever, just shut up and play the game. You want to play a different class, you roll another character, you go through all that stuff again. Um, they wanted to do away with that, and so when you create your character, over the course of the game, you're gonna pick up 40 different classes, and you're not really gonna play as a class at that moment. So you on your character you have eight skills at one point, four from your classes, and then four from weapons. So you're basically sort of mixing and matching class specific stuff and then weapon specific stuff, which is my understanding that Guild Wars 2 does a little bit of that. So that to me sounds really really interesting, where you're not really tied into playing this one class for the entirety of who knows how long. You can really mix and match and kind of make your character something unique. So that sounds really interesting. The next game they announced was EverQuest Next Landmark. And they're basically taking the world creation tools out of EverQuest Next and making a game out of it. Sort of similar to Minecraft. But what is interesting is when you start a character, you get a flag and you plant it, and you claim this area that flag covers as yours. That area that you build all that stuff in, no one else can destroy that stuff except for you. Or they're talking a little bit about inviting people to be part of your land. Although anybody can create or destroy anything in public areas. Um, so what I really like about that is you don't run into this Minecraft thing where your friend comes and joins your server because you've given them access, and next thing you know, the tower you've spent 300 hours building is now a smoking rubble because your friend got drunk and decided to destroy everything in your world. Um, so that seems like kind of a smart idea for doing some of that stuff in a generated buildable world like that. So they sound like they have a lot of really interesting and different ideas for how to make these two games. I'm kind of excited to see if this all works out for them.
have
So
you? I had a friend telling me about this, so I guess this is rumor based. Have you heard anything about they're having some sort of competition where you build something and then it could possibly be in the game, but
no,
at the
but that's
same
awesome.
time, other people can look at assets that you've built and use it in their creation, and then if
Hmm.
they make money off of it, you make money off of it.
Oh wow,
Like
that
it
would be neat.
sounded really, really interesting, but it
Yeah,
was,
sort of like what Valve does with Steam item creation. Like
yeah,
the Team Fortress 2 stuff. That'd be
yeah.
really cool.
It's
A
I don't
lot of
know.
good ideas.
something to look into, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. I really hope it does well for them because that sounds like a lot of cool stuff that could sort of keep pushing games forward.
Yeah.
Next news story: a PUP PSA. 1,800 pre-orders for Devil Survivor 2 will get released in PAL regions. I'm going to open up this news story to see if it's succeeded yet, but publisher Ghostlight would love to release SMT Devil Survivor 2 in PAL region, but it needs to reach a minimum order quantity of 1,800 units by August 30th to do that. There are two versions of the game. One is just Devil Survivor 2 for £25, and then Devil Survivor Overclocked and Devil Survivor 2 for £50. And that's about £10 off buying it, each one of them separately. And unfortunately, the bundle cannot be shipped to Germany due to an existing distribution agreement. So whichever, not entirely sure what that means, but keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. The first Devil Survivor is absolutely awesome.
Yeah, it
The
is
second
really good.
one, most people think is awesome, and I will give it another chance someday and hopefully change my opinion.
So it looks like they haven't yet reached their target, but it looks like a really cool package for those of you in the PAL territories that want to play this game. Devil Survivor Overclocked is allegedly a really good version of the first Survivor. So go on and pre-order that stuff. Two more news stories here. First up is Kingdom Hearts 3. They finally talked about some of the story stuff, saying it's the end of a story, but not of the series. So they were hesitant to say that it's a trilogy because came out front and said, well, we've had like 18 games, so that can't really be a trilogy. But they wanted to wrap up a lot of the story points that started in the first game, since it's been a decade now, which I didn't realize. And they specifically mentioned that the main enemies that you've been fighting will see the end of their story, and then Kingdom Hearts will sort of continue on from there. So that to me is kind of promising news. I'm excited for Kingdom Hearts 3. I think as most people are, and it would be kind of nice for them to kind of wrap up all of this craziness that's been going on between the three main stories and about 200 side stories on about 50 different platforms. It would be kind of nice for them to just kind of wrap out all that stuff and kind of start a brand new story, so I can get back to buying all those side story games before I get burnt out on them again.
Yeah.
Last news story here: Shadowrun returns. Berlin due out tentatively in October. So that's sort of an expansion pack DLC sort of thing, new campaign, right?
Yeah. Like it'll be probably the same length as the Dead Man Switch one.
Yeah.
I mean that's what they basically kind of touted during the Kickstarter, and that's kind of like the way Dead Man Switch even operates in the game is that it's like an expansion that was downloaded.
Yeah, pretty
So
much. Yeah. The iOS version due out in 2 to 3 weeks plus certification time. The best community mods will be bundled in iOS sometime in the future. So great. We could use more, iOS strategy games. We already have XCOM, Final Fantasy Tactics, Final Fantasy 5.
I think
Good stuff.
Shadowrun Returns would be really good for iOS
Yeah.
because you kind of use I don't know, the controls completely make sense for it. They already have it set up with all the buttons and everything. They
Yeah.
just need the touchscreen.
Yeah. Let's move on to tweets and emails. We don't have any emails this month, so Toxic Joker sends us a multi-part question here. Says, what are your guys' favorite Shin Megami Tensei games? Persona 3 and 4, of course. Those aren't really SMT games, but I'm gonna count them anyway. Um,
It's well at the same time like they use the same demon base,
that's true, yeah.
like in the same
Um,
fusion system.
I really liked Devil Summoner 1 and 2, the ones that came out for PS2, the ones with the 50 word long titles. I feel like a lot of people missed out on those games. They're a lot different from the other games. They're way more action based. But the story is really good. The demon fusing is really interesting. The setting is interesting. It's like Japan in the 1920s, 1910s, something like that. Really, really, really cool. Um, I feel like there's another side story SMT game I really liked.
Well, Digital Devil Saga is one of my favorite SMT games of all
Yeah.
time. It's also the one that I think would be one of the better introductions to the world,
Mm-hmm.
because your guys are demons, and it's composed of two games. Each game you can probably beat within 25 to 40 hours at the most.
Yeah.
Um, and the first game is a really good story, and the second game, it's a good story, but it's kind of insane. But they're fantastic games. The Devil Survivor games, the first one, I think is absolutely awesome. Um, but I'd probably get the overclocked version now. When I got it for DS, I played through it all 5 times, and overclocked, I just couldn't go through it again.
Yeah.
Not with the grinding and stuff. So,
Tactic Joker is in chat and he says he has another question here for us. I'm gonna inject this here real quick. He says I got a PS2 for free from my friend. What are some good RPGs and JRPGs or just good games overall I should look for?
oh
I won't even
wow,
address good games overall because we'll be here for like another 5 hours.
yeah,
Good JRPGs: Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy 12, Persona 3, Persona 4, Dark Cloud 2, uh,
Digital Devil Saga.
Digital Devil Saga 1 and 2.
They're fun. God.
It can play PS1 games, so if you've never played Chrono Trigger, the PS1 version of Chrono Trigger is okay. Um,
I
oh
really
man,
like oh, my brain just left me. There are too many options.
yeah, I don't even.
Um
Oh my god, so many games.
most of them.
Oh,
uh
Shadow Hearts Covenant. You should. That game is probably a lot of money, but if you can find even a disc copy of that, it should be good. The first Disgaea game is great. Uh, Hold on, I'm looking through a list here.
Chaos Legion is an action game where you get to kind of summon demons to do battle with you. It's kind of Devil May Cry meets summoning giant awesome demons.
Yeah.
And it's
Um,
RPG-ish.
Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. Those are actually really good. Dragon Quest 8. Dragon Quest 8 is really, really good. You should definitely play that. So many games. X Men Legends, if you have a couple friends to play with. That's a great beat 'em up RPG.
Yeah, both of them are great. Um,
Mm,
gosh.
Rogue Galaxy. Absolutely play Rogue Galaxy. If you like Vanillaware games, Odin Sphere. That game is beyond astounding. We already talked about Digital Devastar Radiata Stories. That game's really good.
I forgot that existed.
Man,
Uh,
Tales of the Abyss, one of the best Tales games.
there are a bunch of Tales games for that system.
Tales of the
Uh,
Legendia is on there. I never played that. Persona 3. Oh, if you get Persona 3 by FES, don't play the original. But don't play the side story stuff in FES either.
don't play the answer in Fest is
Yeah,
the
don't
key.
play the answer. I always forget what it is because it's bad.
Yeah, no, it takes out all the parts you love and leaves you with just a dungeon.
Yeah. Oof.
Um,
If you want to go really hardcore, Grow Lancer Generations.
Man, yeah, I meant to buy that because that was a working designs, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, I always really wanted
Um,
to play it.
Sort of running out of games here in this list that are good.
Yeah, I just pulled up a list.
Yeah, I just so many PS2 RPGs. I mean, I mean, up until I
Yeah.
think a year ago, they were still coming out. So I mean, I just
Um, so here's one that okay. It's a Gundam RPG called MS Saga New Dawn, but they're slightly cheapy Gundams. All the characters are really dumb.
yeah,
You probably need to be a Gundam fan to really play it, and even then, it's the fun part's gonna be like putting Death Scythe's arm on like Wing Zero or something like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, so I mean you have a quite a shopping list there already, so we won't if you
yeah,
get through those by the time we get to like PUP episode 75, right back in and we'll give you probably 30 more.
yeah, there are. The PS2 was just a wonderful time
Yeah.
for games in general.
And honestly, there's still a lot of really reasonably priced PS1 RPGs that you can go back to buy. Like you can still buy a new copy of Final Fantasy 9, Final Fantasy Origins. You know, like there's still a ton of games on PS1 that you can still go out and buy. Uh, all right, continuing his tweets. Boston, have you purchased Dragon Crown or Tales of Xillia? If so, what are your thoughts? We talked about it at the beginning. And final question: which next gen system will you pick up first? PS4, Xbox One, and why? I have both of them pre-ordered, so whichever one comes out first.
Yeah. I have the PS4 pre-ordered. I will eventually get an Xbox One, but at the same time, if I get my PS4 in and they're going for $1,000 to $2,000 on eBay, I'm gonna sell it and then buy both.
There you go.
Like straight up. And there's also a decent chance I'll cancel it before then because the launch lineup for both systems don't have anything that I want to play on it. So
Yeah. Yeah, if I had to pick one or the other, I'd probably pick up a PS4 first. The lineup seems a little bit stronger, but the Square Enix games they've been announcing are coming out for both, so it
yeah,
sort of doesn't matter at this point. And they're not going to be launch games anyway, so
I think the only exclusive that's been announced so far has been that I want to play is Infamous Second Son. So
yeah, yeah. All right, that's all of our emails and tweets this month, and I want to wrap this up because my voice is blown out. Um, If you want to visit us, please do so at pickingupthepixels.com. Tweet us at pickinguppixels. Email us at fans@pickingupthepixels.com. And don't forget you can watch the live stream here at twitch.tv/E1M1 Network. If you can't catch us live, no worries. We archive the episodes up there, and it goes to the TVGP YouTube channel. Please go listen to Musim's show, the Carousel Podcast, at thecarouselpodcast.com. If you like his music, you should go pick it up. It is very good and very reasonably priced at listentomusim.com or musim.bandcamp.com. And my other two shows, TVGP, where we talk about all the video games, is tvgp.tv, and Dynamic Soundtrack. If you like music, especially RPG music, that show's still out there, dynamicsoundtrack.com. And I'm done talking for the rest of the day. Thank you for joining me, Musim.
a pleasure as always.
And our adventure continues next month. Too much talking. All right, we can stop recording here, and thank you everyone for watching the live stream here, and thank you to Toxic Joker for chatting with us during the show. See you next month. Peace.